Hello and welcome back to the Spiritual Shit Show. My name is Julie Wynn, and I want to share what has been coming up for me recently. On Monday nights, I host the Energy Club, and if you want more information on that, just send me a message. But it's a weekly meeting where I channel messages, we get journaling prompts or things to think about, there's energy activations that happening, and most importantly, we just gather in community. We practice what it feels like to feel seen and safe and heard and supported. And I love it. I also love it because it gives me a touch point for the week of what can I practice? What can I integrate? What can I focus on? And I always say that the messages from the guides are so annoying because they're so simple. And when we are wired to do the hard work, so if you invest in a coach, which is awesome, I am also a coach, but more than likely you're investing so you can hustle and create goals and grind and do. And the interesting thing about the messages that come in for us at the Energy Club, it is always dropping into the simple things. It really is about raising your vibration. And that is hard because being is way harder than doing. It is really easy for me to fill my schedule and overwork and overplan and do. But when you're really forced into being, the ego then can get louder and it'll say, hey, what are we doing? What are you doing? You're worthless. You're not doing anything. What are you accomplishing? You're wasting time. And that story goes on and on and on and on and on and on. But I think in the realm of self-mastery, which we all know will never become a master of self, but that's the goal. It truly is in the being where you really learn more about yourself, or you see the simplicity of life, the beauty of life. And the guides are always saying that when you can find stillness, this is how life gets in. And I think for many of us, being still feels really uncomfortable because then the noise also gets in that you have to kind of shift through. The visual that I got the other day was I think there's a technical term for it, but I don't know what it is. But like panning for gold. That's what I'm looking for. When you're panning for gold, you put your little scooper down and you shake it back and forth and 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 back and forth. And little pieces of sand and dirt and rock drop out one at a time, one at a time, one at a time, and one at a time. And eventually you're left with this really incredible, beautiful golden nugget. And for me recently, this is what I am learning that the spiritual practice and work is all about. It's about how can I sift through all the rock and debris until I get to that really tiny golden nugget of truth. And that can only happen in the stillness, in the being. Week by week, as I've been practicing what the guides bring in our Monday gathering, simple things like reconnect to joy or find what you can really appreciate. And over the weekend, I was telling a friend this, and in one of our sessions, they were talking about the difference between appreciation and gratitude. And they were saying that gratitude is this really, really big thing. Like, I'm grateful for my house and I'm grateful for my meal I'm grateful for. But if you can deepen into appreciation, like appreciation is, and when I was telling my friend this, I was like, it's me noticing your eyes and me noticing how really cool it is that you and I are together right here in this moment. And then tears welled up in my eyes because how often am I really appreciating the present moment? How often am I really appreciating life? How often am I appreciating the simple gifts? Like right now, my hand on my desk and my eyes looking at my plant and my voice that is hopefully sparking something in you as you listen. Appreciation. And I'll do a breakdown of these podcasts so you can also begin to week by week tap into these really, really simple practices that are really making big changes. And having a place to check in every week is allowing me and those who are in the group an opportunity to be like, whoa, I am really noticing a shift within myself. I used to be triggered and I'm not so much anymore. I noticed this morning that I would have went down and been so angry at what was happening in the morning. And I just shifted into joy for a moment and appreciation. And I didn't react the way I used to react. So it is a practice, and it is something, it's like you can listen, but if you integrate these practices, that's where the magic happens. So maybe take in one small little nugget of like, you know what, this week I am going to ... And if you're stuck, the whole reason I am recording this podcast today is because yesterday I did a little check-in, and I did the energetic check-in for the Energy Club. And then I was just curious, if I were to be a broadcast of love and put it out for the collective, what does the collective need to know? And what came through was it's about grounding. So now on the earth, we are all really being invited to explore, what does this mean to ground your energy? And it goes deeper than what is actually a fun practice, which is grounding. So literally putting your feet on the earth or in the river. But this type of grounding is actually going a little bit deeper. Grounding into self, grounding into the present moment, grounding into what is now. Your ability to pool all of your energy, all of your focus into the now. When you can ground your own energy, it enhances your ability to give yourself, it's like an energetic hug. When you ground into self, you are allowing yourself to be held in time and space, the now. And there are so many books written on the power of now. But truly, when we can practice, and it is difficult, living in the now, it's a game changer. And for me, it does take time. It has taken a lot of practice, and I'm still practicing it. And the more I practice, the more I'm like, oh my gosh, this is difficult. I can really catch my thoughts going into the future. I can catch my thoughts getting hooked into fear thoughts, or I can catch my thoughts being like what I said earlier, like, what are you doing? You're not doing anything. But grounding has been so powerful for me, because what it's actually doing is allowing my body to feel what it feels like to be held also in safety, relative safety. Grounding ultimately cultivates an ability to hold yourself, to train your body in what it feels like to be safely held. It's deepening into a state of relative safety, whatever that means for you, in this moment. Because we can't fully be in the present moment until we've grounded first, because sometimes the present moment feels too big, too scary, too raw. And when that happens, our instinct is to climb out of it, to distract, dissociate, numb, or busy ourselves through the nows so we don't have to feel what's here. Grounding is the first step back to the present moment. It's like the doorway we walk through before we can arrive. So this week, I invite you to explore this question: what can I ground into? For some, it's nature. For others, it's a cup of tea, a favorite blanket, the weight of your pet curled up against you. For some, it's allowing myself to hold a memory of a place or a person that just feels like home, that brings me happiness. And in psychological terms, this is called resourcing. And I wish I learned this a long time ago. And I think I said this in another podcast, but there are so many things that I've learned from therapist or courses that I was taking, but none of them really named exactly what it is. We would do these exercises and I would feel it, the shift, but I didn't know really what we were doing and what it was. And so many times I practiced resourcing, but for me, knowing exactly what I'm doing, why, and how it's supposed to help me is helpful. So I am telling you, resourcing. Resourcing is your ability to find the people, places, objects, sensations, beings that are here, seen, unseen, anything that helps you feel safe, supported, and steady. So for this week, what can I ground into? Maybe start with writing your resources. Write down at least 5 things or beings that make you feel safe or supported. Also, notice your breath. When you're with your resource, notice how your breath changes. And then just let that deepen naturally and allow your body to rest so it can become familiar with what it feels like to be grounded into safety, to be grounded into the present moment. And then pull all of your energy back. Visualize gathering all these scattered parts of yourself, pulling it all back into this very single moment. And then I would literally give myself a hug. It's nice to pick up the practice of grounding because it's not really just a spiritual woo practice. It's a life practice. It's how we root before we bloom. It's how we prepare the soil before we plant. And it's how we steady before we take the next step forward. This week, root into your resources. Hold yourself in time and space and let your body remember what safety feels like. Because from this place, our ability to be here in the present moment, in the stillness, this is where everything else becomes possible. What grounds me? And what can I ground into for today? Just for today. All right, I hope this share has helped you, even if it's just a little bit. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being such a bright light. Thank you for being in this incredible journey of life. And as you continue to cultivate a practice of grounding, may you also feel the subtle shifts, increasing your ability to know, to radiate higher levels of love, joy, clarity, safety, trust,